Okay guys, I have, this is a book, The Tortoise and the Jackrabbit. This is a book board, you know, from this book, and I've cut it down to, this is 9 1/4 is what it was, and then I cut it down to 8 1/2. So 8 1/2 high, 9 1/4 wide. And I'm just going to cover these. So I'm just going to take, I think, yeah, so 8 1/2 by 11 paper. This is the paper that I'm using. And I'm just going to, you know, do what we all do with the little 1/4 inch. Putting it right on the edge. Remember not to stretch the score tape. And I've been cutting it recently because I don't seem to do a very good job. So I'm just going to do this to the other one as well, so I can cover these. One night when I was on one of my little vacations to my house, I couldn't sleep, and I ended up, we have a card club. Well, I have a card club that I go to. I don't like making a whole lot of cards, spending my time making a whole lot of cards, so I figured if I go to this card club, I make one card 10 times so that each person, but then I get one of their cards, so then I don't have to make cards because I just send off those to people. Okay, I did not burnish. Burnish. But anyway, so there's the one gal that started it, and she keeps us in line and makes sure we know what we're supposed to be bringing and how many and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So I suggested, since we're a card club and she didn't, you know, warned us she didn't want anything for Christmas, I thought, well, how about if we all made her a few extra cards that you know, she could use throughout the year. She's a small business owner, and we thought, you know, something that she can use throughout the year, or when she gets in a bind because she's working or something. And so she doesn't know that we're doing this. Well, one of the ladies, thanks Kathy, suggested, and I'm glad to do it, but suggested that I could make a box for her to put her cards in that would be fun for her to have. And yes, here I am, to make a long story short. But at Christmas time, you know, it's like, holy Toledo, I think I can fit it in, but I need to get on it. So this is, I think though, this is going to be a pretty, well, that doesn't look very straight. I think this is going to be a fairly good, fairly quick project. Fairly quick. And I am just going to do the bits and pieces with you guys. It's getting to be these days that I don't even have time to do, let's see, to do the bare minimums. I try, and I definitely want to bring you guys along, but that's kind of why I've started doing that craft with me, because I'm not really doing a whole lot of tutorials, because they take a whole lot more to get prepped for. Okay, so that helps. Alright. But this one, you know, having shown you what it is I'm doing, kind of makes it a little easier. Okay, and then, well, I didn't get that very even on the outside ends, did I? Okay. So, let's see. This end and this end. Okay, let me cut these just like you would, even though it's kind of, so I'm just going to kind of get in here and get close so I don't have a huge amount of bulk. I'm getting kind of close to the corners, but leaving about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. There we go. And now, this is going to get covered, so I'm not worried about it. Let's see. Alright, let's get some glue here. And since this isn't really a book, but a standalone project, I mean literally it stands up by itself. That's what I mean by standalone project. Okay. Push that down. A little build up on that one corner there, so I just really put some muscle into it, and that's kind of built that down. When that's the only thing with this used book board, is sometimes you've got a little bend or something, but it can usually get taken care of. There we go. And again, this is all going to get covered. But I liked the nice flat. Okay. Now we're just going to fold this in. And stick a little glue underneath there. And you could use tape on this if you would like, but this glue works just fine. And so I'm quite pleased with just having it this way, because then another piece is going on this, and then other than just standing there looking pretty, this isn't really doing anything. I'm gonna have some holes up front. There's gonna be I think 2 holes down here and then 2 holes up here, but we'll get to that. You've seen what I'm doing here now. I'm just putting a little bit of glue at the little area right here where I'm bringing the page around. So it's got something that hopefully will get it to stick. And I put some glue right at the crease. And I'm just going to pull this around. Spread that glue out and give me a nice, there we go, nice square area. So now we have a really pretty piece of board. The only thing is, I would make sure that this piece that is pieced together is going to be on the same, close to the flat side, the cut side, or you know, at least on the top or the bottom, however you're going to use it. Okay, so it's on the same, yeah, I think that makes sense. I'll show you when I start putting it together. Just to go over this with you, I lined this up with this, with the where I put the two pieces together. This is a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and I just used the 1/4 inch to connect the two of them. So I attached, matched this with this. Well, and I didn't do it just right, because I should have matched the other one. Well, I think I can just pull it up. There we go. So what I am doing is I'm going a 1/4 inch down from this, because remember the outside is further down. So from this inside seam, I am going a 1/4 of an inch. I'm taking this outside seam and going a 1/4 of an inch down further from the inside seam. Then I am going to line up the book, eyeballing, which you know I'm not very good at. And then let's just see. Yeah. So I just wanted to eyeball it so that I had it somewhat straight. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. So we get an idea. And I'm going to do just what I did. And just cut these corners off of here. And this is a much thicker book than like the medium weight chipboard, so I am leaving a little bit more than what you normally leave there. And I'm gonna make sure that my corners are all worked down and not bent up. Okay, then I'm just gonna cover it. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, you guys are gonna kill me, but we're gonna do this. This will be the 3rd time I've tried to do this, but I'm gonna start with this one because I don't want to confuse you with all of the mistakes that I've made. So you are going to take an 8.5. Let me get a different color sheet so you can see. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper right here. Okay. And this is as far out as I can get, so I am sorry if you can't see that. And then this is another 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So these two are attached. And then I've done that 3 times. Okay, so there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Okay, so, and I've done a 1/4 inch, only a 1/4 inch in between. So I have these sides attached, 1, 2, 3. These sides attach just 1, 2. So there's 3 of them facing this way across, and then 3 of them facing this way, and then put those together. However you want to put it together, there is 6, 3 on top and 3 on the bottom facing this direction. Okay? Then you're going to take the 11 side. So this is your sheet of paper right here. So this is the 11 side, which there's 2 of them attached together, but it's still 11, or it's 22-inch side now. And you're going to put that across the top of the scoreboard. Okay? Now, please, if you can see other marks on here, ignore them, because like I said, this is the 3rd time I've done this. I've done it wrong. And so there's score marks that aren't supposed to be on here. So you get it lined up. You're going to score at the 2-inch mark. You're going to score at 2, 2 5/8, 3 1/4, 3 7/8, 4 1/2, 5 1/8, 5 7/8, 6 3/8, 7, 7 5/8, 8 1/4, 8 7/8, 9 1/2, 10 1/8, 10 3/4, 11 3/8, 12. Okay? And so you're going to do that, and then you're going to flip it around to the other side, because so this is still that same 22-inch side. I just flipped it over. So now the score lines you just made are mountains on this side. So now you're going to do down this way the same exact ones, and but you only have to go to the, let's see, let me get this in here all the way. You only have to go to the well, I'm not sure if that was, let's see, this is 12. So, okay, let me see. We're going to do the 2, because I believe we've got 2 inches on both sides. So we've got the 2, and then 2 5/8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 1/4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just seeing, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this is actually going to turn out the way I mathematically figured it would. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Oh, excuse me. So, I am going to line this up, and I'm going to do it backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I'm just going to do it this way. It doesn't look quite right. See, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so doing it backwards, I've got it at, I have lined up my last score mark. I've lined it up at, let's just do it at 10. Okay, so it's lined up at 10. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is 9 3/4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 3/4. Is that right? I'm sorry, 9 3/8. 8 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 1/2. 7. Why? No. Sorry. Not 7. 7 1/2. 6 7/8. 6 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. Well, let me count how many of these I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need 2 more. So 5. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 4 3/8. Need 4 more lines. 2 more sets of 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 3 3/4. Boy, do I have a lot of extra unneeded lines. I'm going to mark through this one, mark through this one, and mark through this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 1/8. What a mess. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 1/2. Okay. So that's starting from 10 down. And that will, so, yeah, so it's 2 1/2 on this side. So this side you start at 2, well, no, not really, because I've got it moved away. Yeah, so it's kind of in between. So never mind, don't do that. It's kind of like 2 1/4, but so you're just going to do 5/8 of an inch. You're going to start it off on a line somewhere around 10 and just do 5/8 all the way back until you get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, which would be 14. And then the rest of it is going to be what's going to go in onto the book board. Okay. So now that we have that, I got to finish this side. And I've got to mark which one of these I'm supposed to be. Okay, so I don't want that one, I don't want that one, and I don't want that one. That's correct. So let's see if I can put this at 10. and count backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that should line up with that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you pretty much have to go all the way down to the very edge in order for it to match up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you flip it over, because this is just about out of its wheelhouse, because but this is 8 and 8, that's 25, and 12 and 12 is 24, so, you know, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to make sure that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to go to the 8.5. I've never actually got to doing this side yet, but I started off doing what I just did on this side, which was wrong. On the 8.5 by 11 side, there's 3 of them across. You're going to put the 8.5 by 11 sides up. Okay. And we are going to go at 9. And we're going to make a mark as far as little eye will take us. Okay, no, I did that wrong again. I want it on 8. I want it 8, and I've already got a score mark on 8, so that's easy for me. Oh my goodness. So 8 on the 8.5 inches side, 8 inches is your first mark. 8 inches. So that's the one we want. And then you're going to flip it over and finish off the 8-inch mark. Now I've already got one, so I'm just gonna put this on this side as well, just so I know. Okay. And now we've got it here. Now I'm going to flip it over this way. So here is the 8.5 by 11 side. It's just flipped because I've already done that side of it. Now I'm doing this side of it, if that makes any sense at all. Good Lord. I think once I get it folded, you will see. Now this side is not at 8, so I am making a new mark here at 8. way, and I'm going to flip it over this way. So here's my 8-inch mark. I'm going to flip it over this way, so I'm still on the same 8.5 by 11 side. And then at 8, I'm gonna make that, put 8 inches right there. Now, in between this 8, which I'm going to put, let me fold this right there, in between this 8 and this 8 is 9 inches, and that's what we want. So it's 9 inches along the bottom and then 8 up on each side. Okay. Holy Hannah, that, you guys just don't know how long that took me to do, but in reality, it really doesn't take long if the person that's teaching you how to do it gets it right. Now I have to make sure I remember. Okay, so now we've got long ways. And let me figure that way. I was just gonna fold it back and forth and back and forth. Okay, so right now what we're going to do is, and since there's no right way or wrong way, because I don't remember now, I think you want the paper, you want to the outside at the bottom, I believe. Okay, so we are going to be working our paper. I've got a 24-inch thing, and this just fits on it. Let me put this piece. Now again, let me show you. This is the 8.5 by 11 paper facing this way. Here, here, here. So I have all of the 8.5-inch sides facing me and away from me. The 11-inch sides are that side, and that side are the 11-inch sides of the paper. Okay, so hopefully that will help you. And then we're just going to fold, accordion fold, oops. And then we're going to fold this one back 5/8 of an inch, every 5/8 of an inch. Everybody does this a little differently, but and this paper is pretty good paper. It's pretty good thickness, but it's also pretty easy to fold up and stuff. Now you really want this to stay pretty darn true right on top of each other is what you're looking for. If it starts getting too far out of kilter, you see how the next one comes out, but if it starts getting too far out of kilter, you're going to have some problems. This back over. The more we get, the easier it's going to get. And flip it back this way. Again, you should be lining up. So you've got the one side lining up pretty well, the other side not fantastic, but now it's that second one was a lot better. These are like spot on. Okay. Oops. Sorry. I hope you guys are kind of able. Okay, thank you. Kind of able to follow what I'm doing here. Flip, oops. Flip it back over. Okay. So we're just going to keep doing this until we get all the way through. So just keep going back and forth, and I'll come and show you mine and you show me yours in just a minute. Once you've got all of these folded together like this, so this is a long way, then you open it back up, and let's see, we'll go up. Well, I could have figured this out. Okay, so you go okay, so we're going to find this 8-inch mark that I want to cross. Of course, you'll only have one mark, but I have 100 and some odd marks in here. So let me figure out which one this is again. This one right here. And I'm going to put a nice crease in this. Okay, and then we've got this 8-inch one. Right here. Let's find this one. Okay, so here is the beginnings of our little files. So this is like your front and this is your back, okay? And then these are all your individual little files, which we will be putting pages in between so that, you know, you'll keep your little files filed. So we are going to, I have to remind myself how to do this all the time. We are going to pinch. I'm sorry, let me try and figure out how I'm going to show you this. This is this way. We're going to pinch. Okay, so if I take this and push down. Okay, so I want to take the first two that we have and I'm going to push down and it's gonna, see if I can do it this way. See if I'm doing this right. I want that. Yes. Okay. This always gets me. I want to have this, the first and the third to be pushed out like you folded them. Okay, so I'm pinching those together and making, see the bend starting here? So I want to bend that. Get all of the parts going in the right direction. You get better at this once you kind of figure out how it works. And of course, the larger the piece of paper you're having to deal with, the harder it is as well. So we're folding these two together and folding this together. But you want the whole, I mean, you want the line, am I too close? No. You want the lines to stay folded nicely. So it does take some maneuvering. And then once you get the first, oh, come on. Sorry guys, I'm trying. Once you get the first one figured out, so you've got the bottom squeezed in, you still want that to come all the way, and come on. You got to see how this one is nice all the way to the point, and this one's has lost the point. So let me get a stylus and kind of, I don't want to poke through the paper, but there. We've got the first one done. Like I said, you do get better at it as you go along. And another thing that would really help is this section right here. Let's see. Yes, this section right here, the center, the 9-inch section, this first 2-inch part can be cut off. And I think that is going to help tremendously. Getting your fingers in there and actually, so now this will allow you to do that. And you want to kind of do a couple on one side, and a couple on the other side, so that we don't, see that one's again not doing really pretty. There we go. Now we're going to go to this side and do the same thing. This goes down, and this, you push these two down and you put these two together, and you should fairly easily, I said fairly easily, you can give it a little start. And not quite how deep we want that. You want it to go pretty much let's see, what kind of down almost to that first. So you guys don't have that other line on here like I have, but you want it to be almost about a 5/8 inch fold, or it's not going to fold nicely enough that, there we go, that you're going to get your full section, because this is a 1.25 inch section there, and if you don't get it down almost to a 5/8 inch, then you know, you're really not going to have a nice little fold, and everything's not going to be uniform. Okay, let's start folding that. And folding this. I tell you, it's not easy, but I think it's totally worth it. Pull this down, start the fold there, and then push this piece back out, and pull it down. But you will get better and better as you go, and then pinch it together. Alright, and there's the beginnings of our sides. Now we only have 12 more to do. I am going to get a few more done, hopefully almost all of them, and I will come back and do 2 more, hopefully where I'm showing you a little easier on how to keep up with what you're actually, you know, I mean, how you're actually folding it and keeping it all together. Alright guys, maybe I can remind myself a little tip or something. Okay, so I shall return lickety split. Okay, so what I have done is I went down 5/8 of an inch and put little dots, because that's how deep you want your little squares to be. So I've kind of gotten a little, you know, getting in a little groove. Now I'm pinching this together with my hands inside. I'm going to put something that's not going to poke a hole through your paper right at my 5/8 inch mark, and then I'm taking my index finger that's in here. So I'm holding it like this, and I have my index finger up at the top, and I'm going to fold that top piece right over at that spot, the 5/8 inch spot, and then I'm just going to work the rest of the fold. Okay, I hope I didn't take that out of frame. And then I'm just reinforcing by squeezing all the corners together, and then all of this together. And then I go to my next one. Get the paper pinched. I've got my index finger up on the top here, putting my bone folder right at that, and then I'm moving these fingers up and using the index finger and pushing down. So it's going right over. So now all my fingers have converged on that point right there. And now I'm just going to help get it folded over. So that you've got a nice, because the true secret is that you want all of these to be pretty uniform in size so that you have a finished product that works nicely. And then we're just reinforcing that. Now I have one left here, and I have two left on this side. So what I've been doing is flipping back and forth. Now I actually had a score line that was at 5/8 inch. Now you could score 5/8 inch away from the initial 8 inch. You could do, what would be that, 7 3/8 and then 8 inches, and that would give you a 5/8 inch point to work off of, or you can just do like I did with little pencil dots. Whatever's going to work best for you. Okay, so I'm going to again pinch, get my fingers on the paper, keep moving my fingers up and pinching around that spot. Let me help it and pinch it together. And then just pull everything up, squeeze it together. Now, one thing I didn't do is the opposite side. Cut this to the first score mark there. Remember, I have extra score marks on mine, so because of my trial and errors. Okay, so we're going to do this last one together. Again, get your fingers, get everything out of the way. Put your bone folder, fold and pinch, pull it around. It's a little more difficult right at the last one because there's all the ends to worry about. Get that one. Okay, so there we go, and they're all pretty much the same height. You've got all your papers folded, and then I have one more on this side. Pinch. Keep getting everything right there at that point. Pull this. Let me put that. A little bit of extra fiddly-dee around the ends here. And then bring them all together. You can get pretty rough. I mean, you know, feel your paper out. But again, we're pretty much on a solid. A few of them got up a little higher, a little longer, but for the most part, we are in good shape. And so there is our 9 inch across the bottom, 8 inches. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Is it 8 inches now? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 inches. So it doesn't take up anything. It still keeps it all at the same levels. And then we're going to have papers in between and all that. But there's that. This is a little fiddly, but now basically you're done. Okay? So I'll be back in a few minutes with the next step. Bye! Okay guys, so now we've got our, you know, this thing. Hopefully you got yours all done. I've got mine all done. Yay! Now we need to put our little papers in, okay? And the size that you're gonna need is 9 5/8 by 8. So you need 13 of these, okay? And then you're going to put 3/8 of an inch score mark on either side on the 9 5/8 side, okay? And then you're gonna fold them up. And we're not gonna stick them in yet because we're gonna make little, I don't know if we're gonna do tabs or little cut marks. I think I'm gonna do little, I don't know yet. But anyway, that's what you're gonna need to do, and then you're just gonna fold them up and give them a nice scoring. And so get all of those folded up, and I'll be back in a minute. I just have to check and see what I'm gonna do. I might wait, so I'll be back in just a second. Okay, and now the next thing I found, I was trying to find some paper that I had that went with this. Now, I don't do purple real well. I'm actually very happy to be able to use this because I don't use purple a lot. But I have these placemats, and I thought, perfect time to use one of them because they do have some purple power to them, or at least some nice coloring. So I am just going to line the insides of these. These are the covers. I am using where the line is connected. I'm using that as my top. So I'm going to make sure I have this facing the same way. You know, if you just got some kind of pattern or something, you wouldn't really need to worry about that much. But where's my pencil? Here we go. Let me go ahead. Kind of mark that. And mark that. Let's see. Oh, I won't get 2 of these out of one. I'm gonna have to go get another one. Imagine that. Well, I'll be able to use this on something. I won't let it go to waste. Maybe I'll just use a I've got this purple one that I cut. Maybe I'll just put this on the front because you don't really see it in the front, and I'll use this one that I'm going to cut in the back. So if you have 2 pieces of paper that you want to use, go right ahead. I'm just going to put this in the back. Let's see, where's my mark? Always losing the mark. That's it. Right there. I found it. I found it. Okay. And then, oh. Whoa. Okay. That didn't get cut very well. But I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use that, just like that. So you're not going to see this bottom part. I don't know what I was measuring. Y'all don't look at that. Isn't that pretty? Looky. Isn't that pretty? Looky there. We all do it, people. We all do it. But you're not going to be able to really see this. You're just going to be able to see this. So that I think will be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. I'll do that off camera because I'm trying to get you guys through this to do as much as possible. Now, the paper that I am using is this Time to Flourish, and this is the calendar pad. And so I'm going to take one of each one of these. And let me just see here. So that is going to, let me get it in the right one. That is going to be pretty nice. Okay. So first, I am going to cut off the little trim mark. Now, not all of these are specifically going to look good with purple, but, you know, it's going to have to work the way it's going to work. So now this should be 8 by 8. There's 8 by 8. So basically 8 by 8. And then if I take a piece of purple paper and I put it down like this, I have enough to use the punch pad, I think, and make a tab. And then that will be 8.5. And it will stick out over the top of my center papers because my center papers are only 8 inches high. So they'll cover, yeah. Okay. I think that's gonna work. I could do it this way. And I guess it really doesn't matter. Because I don't want it. How high were these? 8.5. See, these are only 8.5. So yeah. So we're going to want to actually cut that down just a little bit. I don't know, I might have to put a tab on it instead of cutting one. Or I could just leave it. Let me see, where's the other, there's the calendar, here's this. Let me see. This is the Time to Flourish, the pad itself. And each month has exactly the same. So if you choose to use this, you can use it, you know, you have one for every single month, which I love that part. I love that it's not, I love that it's different for each month, but the actual elements are exactly the same. So, those are really the only thing that has the month besides, you know, like the card here. Now, these little pieces across here, let's see. I mean, you would know that's Christmas and that's fall, but it's actually November, which would be Thanksgiving, Halloween, Time to Flourish, that's September, August, sunflowers, July, everything for the fruit grower, Sunshine and Smiles is June, April showers bring spring May flowers. Okay, so yeah, you know what, if I use this border, then it'd be super easy to get out. I wouldn't have to cut, and I could just cut this off each page and possibly leave it in there. I think that might work. I think that might work. I might just do that. And so I'm going to cut this. Let me see so I can tell you. Right here, you're going to need 12 I'm going to need 12 of them. We're going to leave the 8.5 length, or make it 8.5 if if you're working with 12 by 12s. And we're going to cut it at 8 1/8. So 8 1/8 by 8.5. All right, 8 1/8 by 8.5. And that will take care. Now if you've got different size calendars or are not going to put a calendar, you could just put a list, you know, put like a January across, or you don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. Isn't this great? I tried soaking these two to see if I could get the nail polish off, and it ripped my nails off. So, because it's just nail polish, but boy, that stuff does not want to come off. So I guess they've got a stronger one that they use, but at least I can use these two without it's getting too long. I have to go and get, I think I'm going to take them off for a while. I grow good nails. Okay, anyway, if I just think that this is going, I wouldn't say to the person that I'm giving this to, don't put a year, just, you know, maybe start 1 through, I think January's got 31, but, you know, just, and then you can put birthdays in the boxes, anniversaries, you know, that kind of thing, so you can keep it that way. You could just have lines, and so people can handwrite in birthdays, anniversaries, that kind of thing. Or you can just stick a calendar in one of the extra sections that we're going to have. Just stick a calendar in there, and then they can do that. So, but I have this paper, and by golly, I'm going to use it. And I still have, because you get 2 in each pack. So this way I will have just 1 left to use. So that's what I'm going to do, by gosh, by golly. All right, so I said 8 1/2, 8 1/8. If you're doing this. If you're not doing this, you can make it any size you want that'll slide into these easily. And make some lists. Print out, do a printout on Word or something with 2 rows or something like that, and print it out and put it on the piece of paper. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to get those things done, and then I'll be back. Okay, so if you have an envelope punch board, you can do this last, the section pieces that are going to go in between here to, in between here, and you can't see what I'm doing. These little section pieces that are going to go and separate out each section, okay? So I am just taking the envelope punch board, and I'm opening up the flap, and I'm putting the edge of the paper just at the 1 and hitting that, and then flipping it over so that I can do the same thing. Open the flap up, put it just on the 1. So I've done that with all of them. And then again, just open the flap up and put the edge of the paper on the 1, and just flip it over where I can get that flap opened up again. Okay, and then all you're going to do is put this in the cutter and cut from the lowest point here to the lowest point here. And that's going to allow this piece to go all the way up to the top of these right here, these little areas, but then there's going to be about 3/8 of an inch drop. so you can see what's in the pocket a little better, okay? Oh, excuse me, didn't start coughing until I started talking to you guys. Maybe I'm allergic to you. Nah. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm gonna see, because the best way I've found of doing this is actually laying on its side, but if I do that, you can't really see what I'm doing. So, I've gone ahead and I've put score tape. Now you can add glue if you want, I am not. I've added score tape on both sides, I've burnished, and then you're going to cut a pretty nice little angle off of the bottom part. Okay, because you have this angle at the bottom that you want the paper to fit into pretty nicely. So you're first going to take it, and you got the top. If you did it, you did with the envelope maker. I cut that on both sides. But if you didn't do that, you know, it's just fine. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that it's going to fit. Alright, and it is. So then I would, at this point, lay it on its side and do this. I want it to be in the corner, and I'm going to take my little, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stand up, and hopefully I can keep my head out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to get the tape to get started here. This is where really burnishing well comes in handy. Now I want to make sure that I am flush with this piece of paper, that the centerpiece is flush in the corner, and then I'm going to pinch where I've got that started, and then this being on the side is going to be against the floor. So then I'm going to take, against the floor. You know, I don't think you're doing it on the floor. Well, maybe you are. Hey, there's no problem with that. Whether you're the floor or the table, normally this would be on the table and I would be doing this. But I'm just showing you how what it's looking like. Then I would be pushing my bone folder into the corner, down from where I'm pulling the tape, and then I would pull the tape some more. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do this where I'm not there. Get it down past that, and then push that into the corner and pinch again, and then just do that the same back at the end here. Oops, see, it's really hard to get you to be able to see what I'm doing. Now I have it down in the corner, and give it a nice pinch. Okay, so that's the one side, and you're going to do that with each one of these. You know, I've got 14. You could do 12 if you don't need that many, if you're not doing this for like a once a month kind of thing. You know, you can make as many of these as you want, and of course it's not going to always be this size because of how I'm going to finish it off. So because nobody always has this kind of room. I mean, this will open up, you know, quite a ways. It will open up. Let me see. That is about 16 inches. That's a lot of good space, but it will also close up to be as small as less than 2 inches. Okay, of course, once you get cards or whatever it is in here that you're gonna put in here, you won't. I mean, you could use this for ephemera if you were a big junk journal junkie person, or and you just had all different kinds of ephemera, you could make this for that kind of thing. You could make it any size you wanted. So, you know, once you kind of learn this process, which really isn't that difficult, but once you learn this process, the sky's the limit of what you can do with it. So again, I'm going to show you one more time, if I can. I poke this, I poke, that's put and poke, poked. I poked this right here. Okay, so I kind of would poke that against, again, this would be against the table or the floor. And then I'm just going to pull that past it, making sure I'm keeping that in the corner. And then I'm going to put it down at the very bottom and pull again. I just don't want to lift the paper up while I'm pulling the backing off. Okay, so I hope you guys saw that and understand what I'm doing. And again, we're just putting a nice angle on that so that it fits down in here. And if you put it down in here and see that it's not clearing that, it's not wanting to lay down nice and flat. Like this one's not really wanting to lay down flush. There, okay, it must have. So that is what I'm doing next. And then we're going to work on the folders. Now let me show you the bits and pieces that I've got with the folders. Now again, I'm working with this 8x8 Time to Flourish paper, and I'm using one of the calendars so that she can put birthdays and anniversaries, whatever comes in that month, on this. So I am having one of the pages cut out at 8 inches, 8 inches high, and then it's the 8.5, because it's 8.5 by 11 paper. So I left the 8.5 just so I only had to cut once on each piece. And then on this back piece, I made it 9 1/4. And I'm going to have a 1/2 inch to attach to the front of the folder. I'm going to have a 1/2 inch flap, and then I'll have some across the top for decoration. Alright, which I'll show you what that is in a few minutes. But so you can go ahead and get those cut out, or again, cut them out for whatever size you want to go into your folder. Okay? Alright. I'm going to continue doing this, and I'll be back and put some folders together, and then we'll work on the outside. Back in a sec.